Oye, te habla tío Sabio Vega. This is Sabio Vega and you watching True Heel Hit a mi manera o pa' la calle.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Schiavone of All Elite Wrestling, and this is True Heel Heat, and I said it right, you motherfuckers.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023 Roundtable review, recapping everything that went down in Toronto, Ontario, Canada for last night for Impact Wrestling. I am here with one of the co-hosts for Blunt Impact, one of the guys that watch Impact Wrestling every single week. He's back. He's back at it. He's got his Knicks hat on because he's happy they won game one. He's Chris G.
Game one is good enough for me. Thank you, everybody. I missed you guys. Feels good to be back. Feels good to be back watching some wrestling, some good wrestling. Can't wait to get into it.
Yes, indeed. We appreciate everyone who is joining us live, everyone who's watching us on demand. Remember, show your appreciation back. Drop a thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. I am very dedicated to what we do here. I'm having laptop issues, but I'm still here. Still at it, even on the phone with Chris G, and we're going to talk some Impact Wrestling Rebellion. Overall, before we get into everything, of course, sound off in the live chat. Let us know what you thought about Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023 in the live chat. Of course, your super chat donations, best way to show your support, best way to have your comment highlighted on screen. But Chris G, overall, what was your thoughts on last night's big pay-per-view from Impact Wrestling?
I liked it. I like the direction they're going in. I like the little surprises and stuff. Some of the things that were going on are a little predictable, but good in a good way. It's not detrimental to the program or the future of Impact Wrestling. So I'm excited after watching that show.
Yes, a lot of good things went down at Impact Wrestling Rebellion. We don't have pictures, like I said, I'm having laptop issues, so we don't have the pictures that usually associate our roundtable reviews, but we're going to recap everything so you know what went down. Thank you, Hassan, for joining us. Thank you, Ace, in the chat for joining us live here. But they had the pre-show before, Impact Wrestling Rebellion went live on pay-per-view. The pre-show was on YouTube. You had Heath and Rhino versus Champagne Singh and Shera. Champagne Singh and Shera pulling out a surprising win after they pulled out a counter by Singh with some assistance from Shera. He got the sneaky win to get the victory here, kind of capitalizing on the new refined look and act for Champagne Singh. Of course, after the match, though, Rhino hit the gore on these two fools to get some redemption. I thought this was pretty decent. But it was kind of lame finish. I'll give it a star and 3/4. What did you think?
Yeah, a star and a half. Nothing special. I'm not really excited to see where the Champagne Singh character's going. I mean, you got Raj Singh. It's Raj Singh. You know what I mean? I'll give it a chance.
Gotta give it a chance, ladies and gentlemen. Chris has an open mind when it comes to Impact Wrestling here. Then also on the pre-show, they had the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship matchup. The Coven of Taylor Wilde and Kylan King versus the Death Dolls of Rosemary and Jessica. This one got a little bit more time. It got nearly 10 minutes, just over 9.5 minutes. It was the Coven who picked up the victory after Taylor Wilde hit the Wild Ride, followed by the Witch's Wrath on Rosemary to get the pinfall here. Rosemary looked like she had the win prior to that, getting the spear on Kylan King, having the visual 3 count, but wasn't meant to be. Coven retains. I thought I liked this match a little bit more than the previous match. I'll give it 2.25 stars. What did you think about the Knockouts Tag Team title match?
Yeah, I'm with you, 2.25 stars. I mean, it wasn't nothing crazy. I expected a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more of an implosion before upon the Death Dolls, but we didn't get that. Just a match that I figured the Coven were going to win because they just got the titles, basically. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what's next for them and what's next for the Death Dolls. Hopefully they don't drag this out any longer.
Yeah, do you think that we're going to get the return of Havoc, or are we going to stick with Jessica for a little while longer?
I think they're going to give Jessica a little bit more longer. Eventually we'll go back to Jessica Havoc, but this Jessica character I think is going to be around for a little bit.
Yeah, they seem to be teasing it more now ever since, Taylor Wilde went to the undead elite realm. And now, Jessica has been dealing with magic with the Coven, and they want to keep her away from the magic. I thought we would get more dissension between them in this matchup, but it wasn't meant to be.
That was the word I was looking for, dissension.
We got CM in the chat saying, I love this as a way to start the wrestling week. Yes, welcome. We are here with you. Dedication is real. We also got Ace, who says, Knockouts Tag Team Titles match was good. I thought it was pretty solid. It was pretty solid affair. Nothing too much to write home about or anything like that. We also got, I believe this is Frantic World here with a saying that, what's up, SP3, Chris G, and chat. What's going on, y'all? Thank you for joining us. Remember to drop that thumbs up on this video, because we're going to get into the main show, which started off just the way I wanted it to start off, with Ultimate X for the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championships. It was ABC, Ace and Bay Connection, Ace Austin and Chris Bay of the Bullet Club, defending against the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. This one started off very fast. You had all 4 men in the ring trading offense. You saw the quickness and the high flying of Chris Bay and Ace Austin versus really the craftiness and I would say cockiness from the Motor City Machine Guns, because they're
arrogance.
Arrogance, cockiness. I think it came back to haunt them a lot in this matchup. They had a couple of miscommunications where they were hitting each other, but they focused on the limbs of Ace and Bay. You had them attacking Ace Austin's arm to prevent him from being able to scale the X. They were going after Chris Bay's knee to make sure that he couldn't climb up the ropes to the X. But Ace and Bay just kept coming at them, kept coming with the different offense. They had at Motor City with the dream sequence pretty late, and then we end with all 4 men climbing the cables, scaling the cables. You get a kick fest where all 4 drop to the ring. You get the big applause from the crowd. But then ABC, after everybody's going at it with different offense, they hit the 1-2 sweep, the Art of Finesse, into the fold. I believe it was on Alex Shelley. Then it looks like they're about to hit it on Chris Sabin, but instead of propelling him up for the Art of Finesse, Ace Austin propels Chris Bay up to the X. He climbs the X, scales the cables. He gets both belts, bringing them down to the floor to Ace Austin for the victory here. I thought this was a great match, and it was a great way to open up the main card. I thought everybody worked well with each other. I did find it interesting, like I said before, with the miscommunication of the Motor City Machine Guns. Is that going to lead anywhere? Or are we going to possibly see a split of Sabin and Shelly? I don't know. But Ace and Bay has really developed into one of my favorite tag teams in the world. They just work so well together. This wasn't kind of the spot fest that we usually expect from an Ultimate X. It wasn't all the, big spots that are going to be on the highlight reel, but I thought they worked it in a smarter way to prevent all the big bumps that usually, takes a couple of years off people's careers when it comes to these type of matches. I gave the match 3 3/4 stars. What did you think about the Ultimate X match, Chris G?
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fact that it wasn't a spot fest like usual, and considering all men involved, all 4 of these guys are capable of a lot. So they paced it well. Motor City Machine Guns were great, because they're like a low key heel tag team without really being heels. The arrogance, but I also noticed all the incidental contact between them when they were doing tag team moves and stuff. They just came off of losing tag titles over in New Japan, so there's a lot of turmoil going on with the Motor City Machine Guns right now. So I'm excited to see where that's going. Hopefully, I personally want to see a split. And then a makeup right after, immediately after, like a brothers fight type story, let them beat the shit out of each other. And then at the end of it, we got our aggression out. Let's go back for one more run. I think that would be a great story for them. But I gave this 3.5 stars. Thought it was a great opener. Some cool spots. I love Austin Ace Austin and Chris Bay as a tag team. I've been saying it since they became a tag team, and now they're champions. It feels so good to see my man Chris Bay's finally winning matches. Oh, our prayers have been answered by the weed gods. But yeah, 3.5 stars.
He's come a long way from always losing every single week and y'all getting upset. I think it's because he was on True Hill Heat. I'll say that.
Hey, the tide turned once he was here. The tide had turned.
He had won the tag team titles. He talked to us. He's been on the channel, so we know we're always rooting for Chris Bay and Ace Austin. They had a quick little promo from Steve Maclin talking about how everything sucks, including being in Canada. He recaps his war history, which didn't sound like too much fun. But he says that this is the biggest night of his and Kushida's careers, and we are looking at the next Impact World Champion. Tag 'em, bag 'em, and mayhem for Kushida. What did you think about this promo here?
Man, I loved it. It was fucking intense. I feel bad for Maclin. He has extreme PTSD. He takes his anger out and his emotions out on people in the ring. So I feel bad for them too. I loved it. It was really good. It was cool to kind of hear the history of what he was really doing. It was like, damn, this is a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean? So great promo. I loved it.
Really good promo. He's improved so much across the board in the ring, on promos, as a character. He's come such a long way from his time in WWE. Check out the interview from True Hill's BTR with me and Steve Maclin, where we talk about the differences between WWE and Impact Wrestling for him. But the next match on the main card, the second match on the main card, you had 6-man tag team action, as it was the design of Deonna, Angels, Khan, and Callahan. So 3-on-4 actually, versus Dirty Dango, Joe Hendry, and the returning Santino Marella. This one was kind of a wacky type of matchup. The baby faces were definitely, the crowd were into, Joe Hendry, Dirty Dango with the dirty shuffle and all that stuff, the dirtbag shuffle, excuse me. Santino, they were very much happy to see him. Great to see him in his old gear and everything like that. But this came down to the end where the referee was out of the ring, and Deonna grabbed had Callahan grab his bat, his signature bat, the same bat that he used to break the eyeball, the orbital bone of Eddie Edwards, that really started Callahan on his path to being one of the top guys in Impact Wrestling. And he wanted him to use it on, I believe this, it was on, was it on Santino or was it on Dango? I believe Dango. But
Yeah, it was Dango.
he wanted it to use him on him, and Callahan looked like he was about to. He said the thumbs up, and then he turns around and he nails Diener with the bat. He then tells him thumbs down, hits him in the face with the bat. Santino and Diener are in the ring left, and then he puts on the Cobra sock puppet, uses the Cobra for the 1-2-3. Santino, Dirty Dango, and Joe Hendry getting the victory in this one. I give this one 2 3/4 stars. This was kind of an expected babyface turn or betrayal by Callahan, but it still was satisfying to see him back. But I just don't understand the logic of going through all of this for such a long ploy. Like, I thought the whole thing was for him to do all the steps, be inducted into design, and then turn on the design. I didn't think he was going to turn on the design at like the last step, which I guess step 7 was supposed to be the last step, wasn't it? But I'm confused on this whole story, how we got here, but it seems like we have some progression of the story coming out of the pay-per-view. What did you think about the match and Callahan turning on the design?
I gave the match 2.5 stars. I thought it was a fun match. Like, it wasn't terrible. It kept me interested. You know, you got funny spots. You got good characters are out there. It was good to see Santino after 9 years back in the ring. Dirty Dango's always funny. And, of course, I believe in Joe Hendry. So why not, right? The Sami Callahan turn, seen it coming, right? But the problem is that I seen it coming months ago when it should have happened. You know what I mean? It was like, why would you go through all this shit, like you said? So a little confusing, but hey, Sami, it was a good payoff. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, we got Alan who says this was vintage TNA booking here. Someone just joined a group to quick turn on them. Yeah, it's just very confusing. Very confusing. That was my feedback on all of that. Like, why would you do it? You shaved your head, man. Like, go. Why you ain't go all the way? At least join the group before you eventually turn on them. It was very, very confusing.
I mean, 7 steps, and you decided to go through 6 before you were like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know. To each his own.
To each his own, Callahan. I'm glad you're the death machine again. That's all. Yep. That's all I could get out of this. Next, we had probably the most interesting part of this show, which was Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer had a promo with Gia Miller and the rest of Team Dreamer, and he talks about how his mom had a brain bleed this week, but he has to keep on living, so he can't waste away. He says tonight is his utopia. He's going away for a bit after tonight, so he's going to enjoy this moment. It was a very emotional promo. You can almost see him like getting in tears. You saw Killer Kelly kind of getting emotional on camera, the rest of Team Dreamer, and it was revealed by PW Insider Mike Johnson, who said that this story was 100% real. And even if I didn't see that report, I would have known it was real, because Tommy Dreamer is a good promo, but I don't think you can fake all of that. And it really wasn't anything really about the whole feud. Like, he talked about how he was betrayed by a friend in Bully Ray, and that he was going to end this tonight, but he didn't really focus on the beats of this feud. He was more focused on his mother and paying tribute to her. She's unresponsive in the hospital right now, so Tommy is going to take some time away from Impact Wrestling. This was very, very sad, very, very emotional, very good promo by Tommy. But what did you think about this little promo here?
I mean, I felt bad. It was very emotional. You can see the pain not only in his face, but the team around him. You can hear it in his voice. Like you said, he touched on the feud a little bit, but you can't fake that. You know what I mean? Even without the report, you would have known that this shit is real. So good vibes for Tommy Dreamer. Positive vibes. Hopefully everything turns out well. And, hopefully we'll see him soon. Hopefully he does what he has to do to get him back into a good mental state.
Yeah, I would hope so, because hopefully he's going to be on the up and up. Hopefully his mom has a speedy, recovery, or God willing, just all thoughts and prayers to Tommy Dreamer and his family, because that was a really, really sad, story to hear. And you could tell how emotionally it was taking a lot out of Tommy Dreamer, even in the matchup that we would see later on in the night. But next, very, very weird transition here, because we have the last rights match. Last rights match.
Oh man, that's terrible.
I didn't think about it when I was watching the show. It's when I'm
I didn't think
recapping
about
the
that
show,
either.
I realized how that's not the best transition, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a fucking terrible transition. You did a good job with it, though. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. The last rights match, we had PCO versus Eddie Edwards with Alicia Edwards. Of course, this is a feud that has been going on since last year, since both men were in Honor No More. It's basically a casket match. The big casket that they had, I think it's the same casket that they had at Rebellion back in 2018. So, long-term storytelling. PCO very early on, he does a cannonball onto Eddie on the floor. Eddie fires back with some chops, but PCO comes back with some chops of his own. One point, Eddie Edwards pulls PCO's arm in the ropes, and it pulls his shoulder out the socket, and you see the bone sticking out. I was like, why? Why do we do these things? Why do you do these things, PCO? My man, you're like in your 50s. You don't have to do all this. You do enough. He does the de-animator at one point. It was just that shoulder thing. And he pops it back into the socket by using the ring post, putting his arm into the ring post to put it back into the socket. Eddie comes back, he hits a buckle bomb in the corner, but PCO pops right up and hits a clothesline. He hits the reverse DDT and the PCO salt. The casket is open. Eddie rolls off the ramp to the floor to avoid the impending doom. PCO responds with a cannonball to the floor. Eddie looks like he's about to get the win. After he fights back, he does a tiger suplex on the ramp at one point, I was like, damn, PCO be taking some crazy bumps. And then he follows up with the Boston knee party with PCO's head hitting the back of the casket. He puts him in the casket, the PCO blocks, putting his hand and his foot in so Eddie can't close the casket. We get Alicia coming out. She comes out with the shovel and hits PCO on the back. He no-sells it. Eddie is about to super kick PCO, and he moves out the way, so he hits Alicia instead. PCO then hits him with the shovel twice, including in the head, then gives him a choke slam into the casket, and he closes it to get the win. I actually thought this match exceeded expectations. And my expectations were low, but I thought that this was physical. It fit the stipulation very well. So I gave the match 3 stars. What did you think about this matchup here with PCO and Eddie Edwards?
Yeah, I also gave this match 3 stars. I thought oh man, this is gonna be like one of the weaker matches on the card. And actually, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, this is another fun match. My man PCO channeling his inner Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon. Just Riggs, come on, Riggs, just fucking I gotta get the shoulder back in. Alicia did deserve that super kick. I'm sorry, she deserved it. Good for her. Good for Eddie. PCO stands tall. 3 stars.
Yeah, we got Frantic World saying PCO is crazy. I would like to see him have a match with Claudio on ROH, as long as he can take the swing. If he can take the swing from Claudio, then we're all good there. We got Myron Kid who says PCO shoulder has always been fucked up like that. He does it for shock and awe, and it works every single time. It works every single time. Trust me. I was shocked and awe. It's not the first time I saw it, but I was still like, yeah, gets me every time. We got Vicente who says, great to see Sami Callihan back as the deathmatch self, even if fans saw it coming from the start of the design initiation. Like I said, I'm happy he's back as the Death Machine. I just don't understand the long ploy if you were going to do this. One criticism I have of the show overall is the sound and the production was god awful. for a lot of it. Like you had the audio for the commentators when they were talking into the camera, it's all off and stuff. You had this interview that came after the PCO and Eddie Edwards match with Trey Miguel, where there was no fucking sound at all, to the point that they just said, you know what, fuck it, just play the video.
Yo, is it really an Impact pay-per-view if they don't have at least a little bit of a production fuck up, like with the audio and all that? They had a good streak where like they consistently didn't have these issues, and then lately I feel like the specials and the pay-per-views always got like that one audio fuck up at least. So I mean, it's on par.
Par for the course. Yeah, you are right there. It's par for the course with Impact Wrestling. But that segued into the X Division Championship matchup with Trey Miguel defending against Jonathan Gresham versus a Speedball Mike Bailey. This is an elimination three-way matchup, which I like. I will say, it's not very every day that we see this. Usually triple threat matches are one fall to a finish, but I like the elimination style. This is very old school. It reminds me of the ECW three-way dances that always had, the elimination moves. And this one lived up to the hype of all three of these guys being three of the best in-ring competitors in Impact Wrestling, and they just went at it from the start. You had Speedball and Gresham going at it as Trey Miguel decided to get out of the ring. He tried to dive from the ramp doing a springboard into the ring, and Gresham and Bailey saw him coming, so they just moved out the way, and he dropped down. We get Speedball catches Gresham with a missile drop kick when he's aiming for Trey. Then he eventually hits a penalty kick on Trey and then follows up with a running shooting star press. You get a lot of Gresham and Speedball continuing their rivalry, and one of the moves that kind of has defined their rivalry in Impact Wrestling has been the figure four. So you had Gresham focusing on the leg of Speedball. He puts him in the figure four. It looks like Speedball is going to try to fight his way out, maybe get the reversal that got him his win over Gresham at No Surrender. But no, you get Trey Miguel goes to the top rope. He hits a meteor on Gresham while he still has the figure four on Speedball, and he pins him 1, 2, 3 to eliminate Gresham in about 9.5 minutes of this matchup. And then we get Speedball and Trey continuing their rivalry, their great match last year at Against All Odds, one of my favorite Impact Wrestling matches of 2022. You get some hard chops where the Speedball wins that battle. You get a flip through on a crossbody for a 2 count. Speedball comes with some kicks. He then hits the tornado kick in the corner. He goes for the Ultimo weapon, but Trey moves out of the ring. They go to the outside where Speedball catches Trey with the moonsault double knees. Back into the ring. He goes up again for the Ultimo weapon, but he lands right on his knees, the damaged knees due to Gresham. Eventually, it looks like Trey's about to roll him up, but Speedball's able to roll through. But Miguel is able to roll through even more, and with the referee counting the 1, 2, he pulls on the tights, gets the 1, 2, 3, and Trey Miguel eliminates both Speedball Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham, getting this win in just under 14 minutes. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. I just love these three guys working together. Like, you have Gresham, who's very technically based. You have Speedball Mike Bailey, that's a mixture of hard strikes and his karate background mixed with some high flying. And then you have Trey Miguel, who more technical now that he's a heel, but he can still do the high flying. He uses his speed very well. And now he's just willing to do whatever it takes to get the victory. And that's what we saw here in the end. So I gave this match 4 stars. This was X Division style wrestling that we come to expect from the X Division Championship. What did you think?
I gave it 3 3/4. I like that it was not like your typical triple threat match, with the whole elimination rule. Then also the way it was structured, like, you usually get a lot of the one guy in, one guy out. Like, there was a lot of this match where they were all three of them, like, either in the ring or outside the ring, like kicking each other's ass. So I really liked it. I kind of brought it down a little bit because I just don't understand what they're doing with Jonathan Gresham. Like, I think this would have been a perfect time to pull the trigger and put the X Division Championship on him. I would have had, I love Trey Miguel. I'm not mad with Trey winning and retaining. This thing went either way, and I would have been happy any of these guys winning. But I think it would have been cool for Gresham to win, but get the win over Mike Bailey and have Trey be the first guy eliminated. That's just how I seen it, or how I was hoping it would go. It didn't go that way. I'm not, mad at it. I still enjoyed the match. It's just I'm just confused what they're doing with Jonathan Gresham. That's it.
Yeah, I would think that Jonathan Gresham at this point would either be, firmly established in whatever division that they want to put him in, whether it's the X division, whether it's the heavyweight division. But it just feels like he is here temporarily. And I know that I believe in his House of Wrestling interview with Nick Hausman, where he talked about, the meeting with Tony Khan and his falling out with ROH AEW. He did say that he signed a short-term deal with Impact Wrestling, and it makes me feel like he is here for a good time, not a long time. He's going to have some great matches with Speedball Mike Bailey. He had this great match here, but I don't think he's here for the long term. And we're going to talk about his missus, a significant other. The news came out right after the main event that it doesn't sound like she's going to be here long. So where do you think that that Jonathan Gresham might not based on the booking, because the booking is telling us that he might be gone very quickly, but do you think that it's possible that Impact can convince him to stay on long term?
Not if Jordynne Grace is leaving too. Because I knew she signed an extension, or I thought she signed an extension or a new contract, but I guess it was only for a year or so, and it's about that time, So I don't know where they're gonna go. I think if they wanted to stay in Impact, they would have already put ink to pen to paper, like Jordan has done in the past. So yeah, I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see what happens, because I didn't know Gresham was on his way out. I didn't know he had a short-term deal, but I also didn't know until I read the news about Jordynne Grace that she was on her way out too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. That was a little bit more surprising for me than even Gresham, because like I said, I heard about it. We got Myron in the chat who says Gresham is on a 6-month deal, so they are not going to put the belt on him. So I thought they would, to convince him to stay longer. That's what I thought.
Maybe, right? That would have been a good way.
We got Ace in the chat who says the triple threat match for the X Division Championship was great. So a lot of people enjoyed this matchup. We got Vicente who says Trey, Jonathan, or Mike do not put on, I guess, bad matches. No, they don't. They do not put on anything less than that. And Frantic World asking an interesting question, Chris. What do you think? He said, could we see Jonathan Gresham and Jordynne Grace in ROH soon?
I hope so. I don't want to see him go to WWE. There's nothing for Gresham there. I think Jordynne Grace would succeed anywhere she goes.
Yeah,
because she just has that presence and that look and the skill set to she does other shit outside of wrestling that has value and name value. So I could see her succeeding in any company. But Gresham, I mean, if I was Gresham, I'd go back to Ring of Honor. And then you take your wife with you, and she could kill it there too. So, and she can mix it up with whoever, whether it's an AEW or a Ring of Honor roster, and New Japan, because they work with them too. So there's the possibilities are infinite on that side. I hope they go back to Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I would love to see Gresham, mix it up and have a real matchup with Claudio Castagnoli, where his mind is on the match and not what we saw at Death Before Dishonor, which I thought was a really good matchup. I think they can even give us something even greater, and I would love to see Gresham mix it up with Bryan Danielson. There's so many guys in AEW that I could see him mixing it up.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's move on to probably one of the more controversial matches on this card. One of the matches that not a lot of people were looking forward to heading in, but I thought it actually delivered. Maybe it was a little too long, I will say that, but I thought it delivered for what it was. The hardcore war, Team Dreamer versus Team Bully. The match started off with Team Bully's Moose representing the team, going up against Team Dreamer's Frankie Kazarian. They went at it for a little bit before Brian Myers came out to give Team Bully the advantage after they won the advantage matchup on Impact on Access TV last Thursday. You then had Buhinda Guja. He came out to even the odds for Team Dreamer. He had the cheese grater and he busted open Brian Myers by raking his skin with the cheese grater. Then you had, I believe, next was Kenny King. Yes, Kenny King was the next up for Team Bully. Then you had Killer Kelly come out, where this is where I thought the match picked up. Killer Kelly was a great addition to this matchup. I will say the MVPs of this matchup were Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich, because once they got him into play, I thought this match picked up significantly, because you had Killer Kelly come out with the Team 3DS attire. Then she had a staple gun. She staples the head of Kenny King. Then she staples the foot of Brian Myers. Then Moose comes in and he tries to attack her, and she staples his balls. Oh my God. I was like, eesh, that had to hurt. Masha Slamovich is the next out. And I love the vibe when you hear the whistle and everybody was like, oh, here we go. Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. They went at it for a little bit with Team Bully with the advantage. They eventually take all of Team Dreamer and a lot of Team Bully to the outside. Brian Myers hands Masha Slamovich a chair, and she does a senton off the top rope down to the floor with the chair on her back. Cool little spot right there. Then you had for Team Dreamer, Yuri Uemura came out, and then finally Team Bully's final participant, Bully Ray. All of Team Dreamer were in the ring getting ready for Bully Ray. So then Team Bully attacks them from behind. They corner and they surround Killer Kelly. They look like it looked like a kind of a porn scene. If you want to take the picture of Killer Kelly being held by Kenny King and Moose and put a Pornhub label by it, wouldn't look out of place. But yes, they were surrounding. They had her kind of hostage before Tommy Dreamer came out to finally really, start the hardcore war. He comes out with kendo sticks and he starts fighting off Team Bully. Him and Bully go at it for a little bit. We get some big spots on the outside, especially with Frankie Kazarian. The good hands get involved, but Killer Kelly is able to slingshot one of the good hands into Frankie Kazarian, who hits a cutter off the apron to a double tables, a nice little spot right there. Then eventually it comes down to Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray in the ring. They have a ladder in the ring and a table set up. Bully gets Dreamer on the table, and he climbs the ladder. He tells the referees to hold the ladder, and the referees tell him no. So he threatens one of the referees, and all the referees jump him. Then Dreamer gets on top of Bully Ray. He puts him on the table, and he asks the referees to hold the ladder for him. And they're all fine and dandy to do that. And he does a superfly splash off of the ladder through the table, and he gets the win for Team Dreamer. Like I said, this might have went too long. It went just over 25 minutes. But I thought this was a lot of fun. This was the type of chaos and carnage that I expected from the stipulation, and it definitely delivered that. So I gave it 3.5 stars. What did you think, Chris?
I also gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was fun. I mean, you kind of expect the time is going to be what it is, right? Because just the way the match is structured. But the Killer Kelly, when she came in, just started stapling everybody in there herself. I mean, that's really what it was like, oh, shit. All right, now we're getting interesting, right? Masha had a few good spots. I think she did like a front flip with the chair or like some shit like that onto a few people. The cutter through the tables, that was wild. That was like the one bump in the match. I was like, oh, like that looked nice. It also looked like it hurt, but that looked nice. A bunch of 6 spots, fun match. I like the way it ended. Gave Tommy his flowers. He got his people around him. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was just fun. It was just a fun matchup. I think it highlighted everybody pretty well. But like I said, Killer Kelly, Masha Slamovich were the MVPs of this matchup. Vicentia saying Masha Slamovich was doing a Jeff Hardy impression for her chair spot. And we also got Dolores who says Masha deserves a championship run. I think now with the new champion crowned in the main event, I think that Masha's run will come sooner rather than later. We'll talk about that when we're talking about the main event. After this matchup, we had everything getting ready for our double main event. And I was actually surprised. I don't know about you, Chris. Were you surprised that the knockouts got the main event spot? I mean, it makes a lot of sense with the outcome of the World Championship matchup. But, and with the fact that Deonna and Jordynne Grace are like two of the top stars, regardless of gender, in Impact Wrestling. But I was still somewhat surprised that they got the headline spot. What about you?
So I was surprised, right? But then I thought about it, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because I believe Maclin and Deonna Purrazzo are a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe Maclin did the gentleman thing and was like, "You deserve your flowers." You know, this is her first like babyface title run, so you know, where the crowd's like behind her 100% basically, or you know, even if it was split with Jordynne Grace, you know, eventually Deonna's going to win over all of the crowd. So you know, that could have had some play into it. But then, you know, I started getting greedy and was like, oh shit, Mercedes is coming out tonight. She's collecting all the titles. I got greedy. That didn't happen. So, you know, disappointed myself again. But still, it was still
Setting
cool
yourself up for disappointment. What are you doing?
Just the thought. I just think wild shit.
This is Baked Brooklyn. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
That's what you get every week on Blunt Impact. So you had the World Championship matchup, Impact World Championship. A new champion would be crowned as is Steve Maclin versus Kushida. But before the match, we get the big surprise of the show. It's none other than the former Magnus, the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nick Aldis. He comes out to join the commentary team, and he announces on commentary that he is back in Impact Wrestling. He has signed aboard back in Impact Wrestling. And the fact of the matter is, Triple H, there was reports for the last couple of months that Triple H and WWE were looking at and pursuing Nick Aldis. We've heard the rumors about a supposed hiring freeze ever since Vince McMahon has come back into power into WWE. And what we have seen over the last couple of weeks is that all these free agents that a lot of people were saying were likely to go to WWE, they have turned up in other places. First, you had Switchblade Jay White, who's since the minute that his whole contract situation got reported, people were saying, oh, he's going to WWE. He's tailor-made for WWE. He's going to be in WWE. He's going to join up with the OC. And then he winds up in AEW. And then you have someone like Nick Aldis, who comes up and he shows up in Impact Wrestling. You had FTR re-signed with AEW despite kind of playing honey-dicking WWE fans and making them convinced that they were going to head over there. So what do you think about Nick Aldis signing back up, being back in Impact Wrestling, and not going to WWE?
I love it. I think this is the perfect place for Nick Aldis to go back. I think he can go here, maybe have a title run, you know, stick around for a little while and then bring his value back up a little bit more. And then he can make the jump to, you know, either WWE or AEW or, you know, wherever the fuck he wants to go. So I really wanted him to come back to Impact Wrestling. So I'm excited.
And it makes sense with his wife, Mickie James, in Impact Wrestling. So we got more power couples. We got more power couples in Impact Wrestling. It seems to be a theme going on. So many power couples in Impact Wrestling at the moment. We do got Ace in the chat. He says Nick Aldis is back in Impact. We got Dan joining us. Thank you, joining us in the chat, popping in to say hello. Fantastic show, that Rebellion. We got Frantic World who says AEW and Impact Wrestling. Got Triple H crying a lot. I mean,
Triple H, his fault. I would say Vince got him crying a lot. Shit.
Vince got him like, nope. Yeah, you said Nick Aldis? I don't know. I don't know any Nick Aldises. That doesn't work for me, pal. We got Bonkers. It says Bound for Glory for Masha time. We also got Dan who says Power Couple Champs 2023. Yes, indeed. And we got Alan Bankies' great match, talking about the matchup we're going to talk about here with Steve Maclin going one-on-one with Kushida. I thought that Kushida had a great strategy, a great game plan. From the very beginning, he tries to get on the hoverboard lock. But Maclin goes to the outside and he avoids it. We get some chain wrestling, which is always going to be the advantage of Kushida with the technical wrestling. But Steve Maclin makes it more of a brawl. He brings it to the outside, does a nice little cactus jack like elbow drop off the apron, but he kind of hurts his knee in the process. Kushida reverses another angle slam into a handspring elbow. He follows up with a roll up for a 2 count. He eventually hits a big forearm, and he hits his Back to the Future small package driver for a 2. Maclin comes back with a big German suplex. He hits a buckle bomb followed by a Tiger driver for a 2 count. Kushida fights off a top rope attack from Maclin, and he follows him there. He hits an overhead German into an armbar off the top rope. He follows up that into the hoverboard lock. It just hoverboard lock, hoverboard lock, hoverboard lock. That was like his offense was just, he focused on the arm. He attacked the arm throughout this matchup. Eventually, Maclin is able to get him into the Tree of War. He hits his spear out of the Tree of War and then hits the KIA, but only gets a 2 count. I was like, oh, I was surprised by that. I thought it was going to be over. Maclin goes to the top rope, but Kushida's able to get the hoverboard lock up there. Maclin pounds his way out of it. He hits a DVD, but Kushida holds on and gets the hoverboard lock again. Maclin sends Kushida into the corner viciously with a DVD into the corner, but Kushida still goes after the hoverboard lock. But Maclin is able to pick him up, hit like a super KIA out of the hoverboard, and get the 1-2-3 to win the new and become the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. This match went 18 and a half minutes, and I thought it was probably Steve Maclin's best matchup of his career. I really enjoyed this matchup. Thought it was a very good bout. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. After the matchup, Steve Maclin, he can't just get handed the championship. It's not good enough for the referee to give him the championship. He wants Scott D'Amore, since he was so biased against him, said he wouldn't be champion unless he won it in the ring. He won it in the ring, so he wanted Scott D'Amore to come out and hand him the championship. Scott D'Amore does it, but he does it in a little bit of a passive-aggressive way. So Maclin attacks him from behind, hits him with the Impact World Championship. He looks like he's going to continue the attack. When Nick Aldis gets into the ring, we have a stare down between the two before Maclin walks off, and it seems to set up Macklin's first contender being Nick Aldis, which I think that is a great type of like, it's kind of a consolation prize because we know this was supposed to be Josh Alexander, and with Josh Alexander, who has kind of been the glue of, you know, the Impact Wrestling main event scene for over the past year, they needed someone to kind of fill in his spot. And I think that Nick Aldis, he just feels like a world champion wherever he goes ever since his NWA World Heavyweight Championship run. What did you think about the matchup with Maclin and Kushida, and what did you think about the post-match with Maclin attacking Scott D'Amore and the face-off with Nick Aldis?
I gave the match 4 stars. I really liked it. It was a good change of pace. You know, you got one guy's hell bent on getting this fucking one arm bar so he could disarm the man, and then Macklin's just using brute force to, you know, get out of every hold and just try to weaken Kushida. I mean, it was really good. It was well told. It didn't feel like, you know, the amount of time that it got, you know, sometimes we get dragged into like, damn, this match has a little, you know, sometimes some matches have stretches where it's like you lose it a little bit and then it picks back up. This didn't have that. This was just straight from start to finish, just very interesting. Good for Maclin, well deserved. Honestly, probably the best character development and impact in the last year or year and a half, however long he's been there. Because anybody, you know, you could give somebody that old, I used to be a soldier story, but like, you got to be able to fucking commit to it and really, you know, make it your own. And Maclin turned into a sick fuck very quickly, and we love it over there on on Blunt Impact. So well deserved. Can't wait to see what him and Nick Aldis do. I think maybe it's a little too early to see them feud, but I'm here for it.
I don't think it's gonna be like Under Siege or anything. I think like that probably like Slammiversary, the next big pay per view. That's gonna be the matchup.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't want to see him go at it next month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully this is just teased, throughout the however many specials they have in between that time.
And they tend to do that though. They tend to like tease who the next big challenger is. Like they've been teasing Maclin as the next big challenger since like the beginning of the year. Before he got this shot here at the pay-per-view that was supposed to be against Josh Alexander. And I honestly think that even if it was Josh Alexander, this was the time to put the title on Steve Maclin.
Yeah, 100%. We've been saying it for the last month or so, or ever since he became number one contender. Like, he's the guy that has to dethrone Josh Alexander, because Josh has been great, but there's nobody that really felt worthy of dethroning him for such a historic run in that company, except Maclin. Maclin was the guy who stepped up, and it felt like, all right, let's go with him. So I'm happy to see him become champ.
Yeah, we got Romeo in the chat who says, can definitely see Maclin, Deonna versus Aldis and Mickey. I can't, because Deonna Purrazzo actually showed up on the new show over on Fightful Overbook with Jeremy Lambert and Joel Pearl in the weeds, discussing her win last night as well as her relationship with Maclin. And she said that Impact Wrestling wants to keep them separated because Deonna is now a babyface, and Maclin, to keep his persona of this top heel that he has developed into, they want to keep them separate. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, because even if they were both heel, Steve Maclin, how long can you stay a heel when you got the beautiful wife, the virtuosa? Like, come on, yeah, you got to keep that persona going. You got to seem like a bitter schmuck. I thought this was once again, they have really built Maclin into like this dastardly heel and the top heel in the promotion. So well deserving of him to win the championship, and a very good matchup here against Kushida. But that brought us to the main event of Impact Rebellion for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship. A new champion would be crowned as Jordynne Grace went one-on-one with Deonna Purrazzo. I thought this was very poetic, because like I said, I was surprised that Grace and Purrazzo was the main event, but it makes the total world of sense, because this is the third time that Impact Wrestling has had the Knockouts World Championship in the main event of a pay-per-view. The first time was Hard to Kill 2022, Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo. The second time was Hard to Kill 2023 with Jordynne Grace versus Mickie James. And now the two women outside of Mickie, who's injured right now, go head-to-head in the main event. Deonna Purrazzo owns a 2-0 record against Jordynne Grace heading into this matchup. And I like the fact that this was a different kind of, layout and dynamic, because before, Jordynne Grace was the top babyface in the promotion, and Purrazzo was coming in as this cocky heel who thought she was better than her, and now they are both babyfaces. But this crowd in Toronto really sounded like they just wanted to cheer Deonna. They did not like Jordynne, and Jordynne showed off a little bit more of her cockiness in this matchup. And I love commentary with Tom Hannafin talking about how Jordynne Grace feels that she's so much better than her run in 2020. She even thinks that she's better right now than she was throughout her reign in 2022 into 2023. And she showed off that cockiness throughout this matchup. Started off slow with like the headlock and, feeling out process. But then Jordynne Grace kind of brought in like the aggression with chops, working over, then Purrazzo working over the arm, setting up for a couple of her different finishers. We get that huge dive to the outside, a crazy dive by Jordynne Grace, and then she follows up with a jackhammer on the floor. I was like, damn. She gets him back in the ring. She gets a 2 count. Grace has the upper hand, and she's just showing off her cockiness. She gets her up for a stalling suplex, holds for a complete 20 count from the Toronto fans, counting it out. They fight to the ramp where Deonna wants to go for the Queen's Gambit there, but that didn't work. After some reversals, Jordynne went to the floor, and Deonna follows up with a big moonsault off the ramp onto Jordynne Grace. We get Deonna with a lethal combination into a Koji clutch, but Jordynne is able to reverse that into a near fall. Jordynne pulls out the damn vertebraker, the cop killer, at one point. I was like, yes, I love anytime I see the cop killer in a ring. And when it's by Jordynne Grace, who just is a monster, a beast in the ring, I just love that. That got her a 2 count. Grace goes for the Grace driver, but Deonna's able to fight out of it. She goes for a leg lock, but Grace is able to reverse it into a rear naked choke, calling back to her matchup with Mickie James at Hard to Kill 2023. But this time, Deonna fights out. We don't get the phantom tap out that we got at Hard to Kill. We end up with both ladies getting their head kicked off at the same time. They answer the count and they square off. They go back and forth until Deonna gets a Fujiwara armbar and she locks in the Venus de Malo, but Jordynne's able to power out of it. She hits a spine buster for a 2 count. Grace goes to work, but she eventually hits the Grace driver, which was a great near fall because Deonna kicked out at like 2.75. I thought that might have been it, but the Virtuosa is able to fight back. Grace plants her up on the top rope, which ends with Deonna hitting a sunset flip powerbomb, followed by the Queen's Gambit. 1, 2, 3. Deonna Purrazzo is your new and 3-time Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Champion. This match went just over 17 minutes, and I loved it. I loved it. This was one of my favorite women's matches of the whole year because it was physical. You had the big moves. You had the different type of, strategy from both women, with Jordynne Grace using her power while Deonna Purrazzo used her skill and her technical ability. And in the end, it was just one finisher was good enough to put the match away over the other finisher. And Deonna Purrazzo once again goes 3-0 against Jordynne Grace. They get a show of respect. They shake each other's hands after the matchup. And Jordynne Grace stands tall, your new Knockouts World Champion. I gave this match 4.25 stars, so the same rating that I gave Jordynne Grace versus Mickie James earlier this year. But I don't know, I would have to rewatch that match again. I might have not liked this match better because I was very much surprised by the outcome. Even though it really could have gone either way, I thought that Jordynne Grace was going to win here and possibly even turn heel. But Deonna Purrazzo deserves it, and now we get a babyface Deonna Purrazzo as Knockouts World Champion. Chris G, what did you think about the match here?
I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a great match as well. These two have really good chemistry. I mean, if you've seen their previous matches, you can see it with them. They're a match made in heaven. No pun intended. Jordynne Grace is great. I think Deonna deserves it. She deserves a good babyface run with the title. I feel like that's like the only thing she hasn't accomplished yet in Impact Wrestling. So I'm glad that they're taking that route. I thought Jordynne was going to turn Jordynne was going to turn heel after the match, but like with everything coming out, it makes sense. Maybe, just sign of respect, and they're going to start to slowly phase her out. But yeah, I love the match. Well deserving of the main event. However they whether this was planned or not, it just doesn't matter. They did a hell of a job out there, and they closed the show, and it was a great way to close the show.
Yeah, I really got it. You mentioned it. This was not the original plan for, Rebellion. A lot of different stuff, happened to change the course for Impact Wrestling, whether it's Josh Alexander's injury, Mickie James' injury, and having to relinquish the championship. But for a show that was kind of put together in the last 2 weeks, I thought that this top to bottom delivered what we usually expect from Impact Wrestling. I've said this before. I said it on the preview for the show that Impact Wrestling since 2018 has had nothing but good to great shows whenever they're on pay-per-view. And this was another example of that. It wasn't supposed to be the original plan, but in the end, this came out very, very well. And for a Plan B show, I think this was about as well as it possibly could have worked out for them.
Yeah, just a lot of like outside elements that affected the show, even with like Tommy Dreamer and
Yeah.
everything that he's going through. The champs hurt, both champs hurt. I mean, just a lot going on, but they don't fail. They don't fail at big shows. They really always put on good wrestling shows. You could say whatever you want about the entertainment value of Impact Wrestling, whether you like the supernatural shit and like the shenanigans and the comedy that's involved in Impact Wrestling. I personally like it. So then when the wrestling is great throughout the show, it just makes the show that much better. So I love Impact Wrestling specials and pay-per-views, and keep the streak going. Let's see what.
Sound off in the live chat. Last call for super chat donations, but let us know what was your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and overall out of 10, what did you give the show? For me and Chris G, let's put our thumbs in the middle, Chris G, for Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from me and Chris G. Out of 10, Chris G, what did you give the show?
I'll give it an 8. I thought it was a pretty solid show. I really enjoyed it from top to bottom. So I'll give it an 8.
You give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I thought there was no bad matches on the card, maybe on the pre-show. But on the main card, there wasn't any bad matches. I thought everything was entertaining, or either very entertaining or exceeded expectations throughout this show. We got Ace in the chat who gives it a thumbs up. We got Ace giving it an 8 out of 10. We got Alan Banky giving it a thumbs up and a 7 out of 10. Okay, Chris G, what was your match of the night?
Well, as much as I love both championship matches at the end, I'm going to have to go with the Kushida Maclin.
I'm going to go with Deonna versus Jordynne. Like I said, I thought it was one of the better women's matches in 2023 so far, and there's been a lot. Because I watch Stardom now, they always deliver great matches. I've watched Tokyo Joshi Pro with the Mizuki versus Yuka Sakazaki. ROH has had a great match with Willow Nightingale versus Athena. WWE with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte from WrestleMania. But I think this is a formidable kind of matchup to put up there with like Jordynne Grace and Mickie James, one of my other favorite women's matches of the year. Of course, New Japan had Mercedes Moné and Azumi versus Hazuki, and Mercedes Moné versus Kairi. But this match right here are just a great matchup between two of the best in Impact Wrestling. So I'm giving it to Deonna and Jordynne. Who is your LVP for the show, Christian?
The design. They didn't see Sammy turning on them at step 8, 7, 8, whatever step it is. They didn't see it coming. So they get the jabronis of the night.
Yeah, I got to give it to co-jabroni, co-LVPs for this show, the design, and Bully Ray. Bully Ray got jumped by some referees.
Yo, that was probably the funniest part of the whole show, too. They stalled on him. So, I agree.
If this was overall for the weekend, Eddie Edwards would be up there as well because he took an L to Kenta on the New Japan show and then took the L here. But I think more, it's Bully Ray and the design deserve the LVP for this show right here. Now, MVP for the show, who do you go with, Christy?
I got 3. I got 4, actually. I had Tommy Dreamer as one of them because, to go through what he's going through and then still go out there and perform and give it your all and kind of embrace it all. Yeah, he gets MVP for that. Maclin, of course, for becoming champ for the first time in his career, finally getting the spot, putting all that hard work in and getting his spot. So hopefully he does well with it. Of course, Deonna Purrazzo for doing what she got to do and becoming a 3-time champion. And Nick Aldis for, just being presented as a big-time star. Finally, it feels like, other outside of NWA, because it feels like that's the only company that really gave him a shot, and he did good with it. And now when he's coming back, and he feels like a big shot. So he gets the MVP from me.
Yeah, I would give honorable mention to Nick Aldis because he's a former Impact World Champion, but he never has been positioned in this type of character, the character that he had in NWA, and he had to get away from that cancerous NWA with Tyrus as your NWA's World Heavyweight Champion. So I'm glad he's away from there, and now he's back in Impact Wrestling. But I'm gonna give it to the power couple in Impact Wrestling, Steve Maclin and Deonna Purrazzo. They are, the Impact World Champion and Impact Knockouts World Champion. And then they are the third couple in Impact Wrestling history to hold both top titles behind Taya Valkyrie and Johnny Impact, as well as Rick Swann and Su Yung. And I'm happy for them. I'm very much happy for them. After speaking to both of them, having the honor to interview both, I think they're well deserved. They worked so hard to get to this point in different ways, and didn't let the setback of leaving WWE kind of stop them. They've excelled being in Impact Wrestling, so I give it to them.
Yep. Well
we got Ace saying the design LVP. We also got Frantic World who says the design needs EY to come back to help them.
Nope. Killed him. Can't come back. Killed him.
And now he doesn't even show up on WWE. He can't even show up in prison.
Killed him everywhere, apparently.
Ace saying match of the night, women's main event. We got Ace also saying Steve Maclin and Deonna MVPs for the show. So some good picks here. Ellen Bakey saying women's main event match of the night. Yeah, I mean you can't go wrong. There was like 3 to 4 choices, either the Ultimate X, the X Division matchup, or the 2 world title matchups. I think those were like the very good to great matches on this show. But like I said, everything else was entertaining in its own way. But that's going to bring us to a close on our Impact Wrestling Rebellion 2023 Roundtable Review. I want to thank the good brother Chris G for joining me to talk about your home, your promotion, Impact Wrestling. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on this week, whether it be here, True Hill Heat Sports, and everything else, brother. And welcome back, of course. Welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Feels good to be back. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TrueHillChrisG. You can find me every Tuesday night, NX3, the NXT Watch Along here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Every Thursday on the True Hill Heat Twitch. You can see Blunt Impact where we do the Impact Watch Along. That's always a fun one with the good brother Ness. NX3, my good brother Romeo and Ness. And then Friday nights, we're going to try to get back to some gaming. I'm trying to get the new WWE, MLB. We're gonna update the games a little bit, and that's on the Twitch as well. So look out for that. And then True Hill Heat Sports, True Hill Heat Check. Whenever I guess we gotta wait till the second round for the next episode. But the next episode of True Hill Heat Check, I will be there. I can't tell you what day because my schedule changed up a little bit, but we'll let you guys know, and we'll talk about some basketball.
Moving up in the world, off camera too.
And hopefully, when we're talking about the second round, we there.
Hey, we both of our teams won our game one, so I can't say anything bad about the Knicks and the Lakers. Man, we look great.
Peace on this side.
It's all peace. Rui Hashimura fan club right here. Me. Check out the last episode of True Hill Heat Check with myself and Romeo discussing a preview for the NBA playoffs. We did this before the 8th seed game in the play-in, so we gave you our predictions for that, as well as the NBA playoff, the entire bracket. Me and Chris G will be back following the end of the first round to give an update on everything, see what's going on throughout the NBA landscape. But check out the last episode of True Hill Heat Check. You can check me out on the Twitter machine at True Hill SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at True Hill Heat, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you in the door. You got my Raw report that's going to be up this week, Dark Power that's going to be up later this week, and plus much, much more, including the True Hill Heat Prediction Championship. Romeo, I think, already put it up or will put up the results from week 2. There was a lot of big shows this week. Impact Rebellion, AAA Triple Mania, New Japan Pro Wrestling had 2 major shows. We did predictions for all of that, and you can be a part of that for $3 a month. And that is the best way to show your support for what we do here. And of course, you can check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, including my interview with Steve Maclin, True Heels BTR. We talked about his big matchup with Kushida at Rebellion, his journey throughout being in Impact Wrestling over the last 2 years, the differences between being in the Impact locker room and being in WWE under the tutelage of AAA Shawn Michaels and Dusty Rhodes. It's a very insightful interview, and you really get his mindset going into the biggest match of his career last night at Impact Rebellion. But still, check it out today, and check out True Hill Heat 221 from this past weekend with myself, Josh, and special guest Cresta Star. That was a lot of fun, and we did predictions for the shows as well as talked about the major news of CM Punk expected back in AEW. So check all that out right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. And tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, you got Rated Raw Superstars with Romeo, True Draw Josh, and the crew watching Monday Night Raw. So join us for that as well. But thank you once again to Chris G, and thank you to all of you for watching. Remember to drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. For Chris G, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our Impact Rebellion 2023 Roundtable Review. We are signing off until next time.